spiritual knowledge, it is really important that you understand how life works. So I'm going to explain a concept called the Groundhog loop. Okay, now, have you ever seen the film Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? Fantastic film. He wakes up in this hotel, 7 a.m., alarm goes off, goes downstairs for breakfast, has breakfast, does his day, goes back to the hotel, goes to bed, wakes up 7 a.m., goes downstairs, has his breakfast. Kind of people saying the same thing. Goes through his day, remembers the same things happening, goes back to bed, alarm 7 a.m., gets up, same thing happens again. Eventually, he realizes that it is a repeat of the previous day, of the previous day, of the previous day. Does his head in completely. But this is exactly how life works. So we're talking about here your present life. Ignore previous lives for the moment. And the way life works, and this is mind-blowing. When you get your head around this, which you can test, what I'm about to explain also explains how deja vu works. When you're born, you go on a journey, and it's a loop, and you die at a certain point because your destiny is fixed, and everything in your life is planned out and happens. Even the same mistakes that you make again. So in this loop of your life is a repeat of the last time that you led it. So what you're doing is your present life is on a constant loop. You die, you're born again, you meet the same people, same things happen, you die, you're born again. And it goes round and around. And it's very much like having a driving test, right? A driving test, you fail it, you have to resit. You fail it, you have to resit. And our lives, this particular present life, is on a constant repeating loop. It's called a groundhog loop. And you'll see this in many films. And they're really, really quite clever how they produce these films. Because what they're doing is they're telling you the truth about how life works. So everything that's happened in your life has happened before. Everything that's going to happen is going to happen. And you can do absolutely nothing to change that unless you become conscious. And if you create more consciousness in your life, you can then start making decisions. And these decisions will be different to how you led your life before. And that was the point I was making about evolving, choosing your own life path. At the moment, we're all consciously asleep. We daydream our lives away, and everything happens. So this concept is really important because if you think about something that you want, and a lot of people go, oh, I want loads of money. And they go, right, do you have money now? No. So what are you going to do? I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work really, really hard. But if in your loop, you never ever had money and you really work really hard, there's no point because you're never going to have that money. So all the stress, all the hard work, the long hours, everything you went through was for nothing. And the only way you can change that is if you increase your consciousness and you can change what happens in your loop. At the same time, if you've got no money but you always want money, but in your loop, you're going to have money, there is no point in working hard because that money is going to come to you anyway because your life is fixed and it goes around again. Now, what we're meant to do is we're meant to increase our consciousness. We're meant to evolve so that when we get to the end of the cycle, we can choose to make that cycle longer. We can live longer, right? And this is my point. This is why I've got no idea when I'm going to die. I might die tomorrow, next week, next month. But I want to go to 120. And then I'm going to make a decision. Do I like the world that we live in? Do I like the people? Do I like what's happening? Am I going to stay or am I going to go? But I want to be in charge of my life. I want to be able to decide what I want to happen in my loop. Now, if you're watching this, I know you're smart, you will have realized that in your last loop, you were exactly at the same point and you watched it And then you made a decision what you were going to do with your life. Now, you failed in that last loop to evolve. I failed in my last loop. And this is why I'm back here this time getting it right. This is why we've had this conversation. What you go and do next, whether you work with me or you don't work with me, is what you did in your last life, in your last loop. But this time, I urge you to get it right, to make the changes, to eradicate all the pain and problems that are in your life, maybe now and in the future, because they will be there. So your life is completely different. It's what you want it to be. Pain-free, problem-free, full of happiness, love, completely relaxed, everything that you want, great relationships. So the Groundhog Loop principle is one that explains how life works, but it also therefore gives us the impetus to change things going forward. Because in my life, I've had a lot of pain and I've had a lot of problems. On the plus side, they've made me who I am, which is a better person. But do I want to get to the end of my life and then know that when I'm reborn, I'm going to go through the same crap all over again? But this time, because I failed last time, that crap is going to be worse. So I know that if I fail to get it right this time, next time, it's going to hurt a lot more. And if I fail it again, it's going to hurt a lot more, until suddenly I realize that I am the creator of my future and it's up to me to get it right. So I've got a very strong reason to get it right. You have to have that same reason as well. Because if you don't, you're going to relive this life with the same pain. Now, what I should also say about previous lives is, if you were born, say, 200 years ago, as an example, this is your present loop. You're going to have a previous loop, which is running simultaneously. And if you had another life before then, that is running simultaneously. And if there's one before then, that is running simultaneously. At the same time, you're going to have future lives. They are running simultaneously. So you have all of these lives that are all running at the same time. And your job in your future, present, and past lives is that one of those lives, you've got to find a way to break out of that, to evolve. And when you do, it changes all of everything, forward and past, because time is completely different to what we know it to be. Right? We think it's linear and it's that way. It's not. It's this way. Now that is really, really powerful, because if you have a loop, you can stand outside of the loop, which is time, and you can see the past and you can see the future. But then that allows you to make changes to the future. And as part of becoming superhuman, I'm going to show you how to come out of time. So time as a perceptual concept is longer, or it means you've got more of it. Now, as I said, life is completely different to what you know. And I'm going to be able to show you, as part of this project, how that you can change your loop and how you can stand back out of time and see things like what's going to happen in the future. Because you can do it now. You've got deja vu. Deja vu, like, I know that place. I know, but do you know what's going to happen next? And deja vu is just simply you seeing the same point in time on your previous loop. So from a spiritual knowledge point of view, the Groundhog Loop concept is something that is life-changing. You need to get your head around it. Now, you can either agree with it or you can disagree with it. That is your prerogative. But you can test it. And all I want you to do is to take this concept on board, work with the project, and then you'll see how you can then basically change your whole future so that you can be in charge of your own destiny.